I'm prickly with time, and I make no apologies about it. As I'm writing this, I'm 23 years old. When I was a kid, I could spend hundreds of hours playing Pokemon games after school and not feel an ounce of guilt. I first got Pokemon Black and my second Unova Gym badge on the same day. Nowadays, I have a faith to nurture, student loans to pay, parents to support, and work to do. This given daily time is not as flexible as it used to be. There's an investment to this kind of time now, and if I'm using it, I want some bang for my buck. So, here's what I've been doing for the past several months. I read 2 pages of midrash, 1 short story, 1 poem, and 1 essay/letter per day. This might not sound like much, but this was a method essentially laid out by the legendary Ray Bradbury. And I can attest, so far, that this works. Theoretically, in one day, I can listen to 2 rabbis arguing over Torah, witness a boy become a bird after being killed by his evil stepmother, pretend to be a bard telling the beginning of Beowulf, and walk with Wendell Berry, and just taking all of nature in. When combined with prayer, scripture, and reading the catechism, it helps stir my mind and soul into higher things. It's great stuff, and you can do something like this too. You can pick out great stuff by going to your local library, or check out this chart I made. Simply put, why would I spend over an hour watching a video essay about a single movie I already watched when I could read 10 fables, 10 sayings of the Desert Fathers, and a chapter of Bullfinch's mythology, and still have lots of time to spare? That's not to say I'm against people watching or talking about cartoons or consuming secondary material like analysis or commentary. But if I have 3.5 hours of free time to experience someone analyzing something, I want that analysis to be on something more primordial, like scripture, fairy stories, Shakespeare, or older poetry, not Jimmy Neutron. I'm prickly with time, and you should be too. I mean, let's be real here. The main reason why we watch stuff like this is because the topics discussed are familiar. We Zoomers, generally speaking, grew up with this stuff, and we're probably the last generation who got the chance to be united over the kinds of stuff we watched on TV like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel before streaming took over. So when we see a 3-hour video essay on something like The Fairly Odd Parents, of course we're gonna watch it. Life is hard. Nostalgia is easy. So we eat this stuff up. It's familiar. It's safe. It's comfort. But, and this might be offensive to Gen Z ears, I don't think we should be solely relying on this stuff to survive the rest of our adulthood. We're not 9, 12, or even 16 anymore. We Zoomers are either grown adults or people on our way to the workforce. But, hear me out. I get why we do this. For a good chunk of our lives, the time we've been given has been frankly disrespected hard. Not only have we been yoked to be at these square boxes for at least 30 hours per week, but that doesn't even include homework. So yeah, shame on us if you want to spend Saturday mornings and summers consuming video games and cartoons instead of reading something like The Scarlet Letter. It doesn't help that the few short stories we've read in high school tended to be basically depression fiction with some shoehorned message about the masses being evil or stupid or something. Like, yeah, stuff like this can be important and can be told well, but it's probably not the kind of stuff you want to show to a Zoomer when introducing them to a whole medium of storytelling. But okay. Listen, I'm not saying that every single thing about our education has been irredeemably evil, but compared to the consumptions of someone like Lord Dunsany or what's offered in homeschooling resources like Simply Charlotte Mason, I think it's safe to say, yeah, culturally speaking, we got the short end of the stick here. I went to the same high school as Michelle Obama, and I never read Treasure Island. Ooh. So yeah, when we as a generation didn't get regularly nourished by Holy Scripture, short stories, poetry, and essays growing up, is it really any wonder why we're depressed and our political opinions tend to lack nuance and can fall into the extremes of communism or fascism? I think not. Okay, despite what I've shown and said, I don't want people coming away from this video thinking lesser of video essayists and their content. I think they're trying to make the best of what we've been given culturally as a generation while trying to make a living. Don't ridicule or go after these guys, please. While yeah, we could spend all day feeling sorry for ourselves and how uncultured we are, it's important to remember where we are right now has been largely the result of centuries of decisions beyond our control, and likely out of the control of our parents. Moreover, unless we can know ourselves, the world around us, and the world to come, we're likely not going to accomplish much in this short life. Yes, we aren't children anymore, but that doesn't mean we can't take little steps to turn things around for the better. We are what we eat, and I don't think it's reasonable that we remain perpetually tied to TV shows that, for the most part, haven't aired on cable in over a decade. This isn't to say that the cartoons we watched, the lessons we learned, the songs we sang, the tears we cried, were somehow all worthless. No matter how much I cringe at the time I spent playing Pokemon Diamond, I can't shake my fist at God for what has been given me. Like it or not, these are our cultural foundations, and rather than to throw it all away, I think it's helpful to view these products as a first step to comprehend and contemplate things higher than the skyscrapers we pass by on our commute to work. I won't lie here. Doing this every day is going to take time to get used to. We more than likely haven't grown up regularly reading stuff like this at all. But, my goodness, the lands I've been to, the people I've met, and the images I've thought over have been at times breathtaking. It's worth it. This might be a controversial opinion, but I think life for us should be more than coffee, work, anxiety, sleep, taxes, and death. We grew up watching shows about a land of dragons and giant red dogs. There has to be joy in being an adult besides listening to podcasts and sitting at the couch watching Netflix until bedtime. There's more to life than this, and I think changing our consumption habits just a little bit can make a big difference in the long run. I'm prickly with time, but I never gave myself it in the first place. Again, this might be offensive to Gen Z ears, but making ourselves better is the kind of stuff that's gonna need prayer and meditation on scripture. Notice how I didn't say my time or my free time throughout this whole essay. That's because we're not the main characters of this world or the world to come. What we're dealing with as a generation is a big knot that can't be undone in our own human strength. In the end, we need God, His love, His grace, His word, and His church. If you're a fellow Zoomer whose eyes tend to roll hard at the mention of religion, at least consider this. Go to your local Catholic church that has Eucharistic adoration available and find a way to make it there. And once you're there, just sit down, be quiet, and look. I'm not making any guarantees here. I'm not here to make God into some science experiment. I'm just saying that whatever might happen, it might be more productive and nourishing to your soul than replaying that 15-year-old video game for the 50th time. I'm prickly with time, but I'm grateful for it.